I do not have the solutions to what is ailing the cooperatives. But I'll give you the inside of Fintea, which is a very new union, and I'll be telling you the stages at which we have gone through, and from that, we shall all find solutions to the future. I will make the introduction. Now I'll give you the projects that we undertake under diversification and the challenges which we face, and eventually the benefits that our members have received. Fintea comprises 5 cooperative societies which are named out there: Kochai, Chesetega, Chep, Ainamoi, and Kap. All these are in the highlands in Kericho, and they are in a very fertile area. They all registered under the ministry. That's the setup of Fintea, which is only 1 year old. They had been operating for the last 5 years, and I am the chairman of that union. And the union has 11,000 members, and hopefully by now, the number should have increased to 15,000. Not very successful with that. The main objectives was processing of our teas. The area has several factories which were run by the government, but after some time there was a lot of inefficiency and a lot of tea was lost in the fields. By the time they eventually got to the factories, they were declared too late for manufacture. So behind every factory you found there was a big dumping pit which nobody would be able to see. And the prices, of course, were getting lower. People were waiting in the sheds up to very late at night to get services. So eventually, after the 2008, we had certain problems in our country in 2008. Some of us and a few of the leaders came together, and they decided they should find a solution. And they approached the local multinationals who are running their factories much better. And one of them, James Finlay, was accepted to assist the farmers. And they were asked to register groups, which they did. After they registered group, it was found it was better then for them to form cooperatives. They then formed the cooperatives, and the idea of going fair trade arose during that period, which they accepted, and the farmers supported the registration by doing all that was necessary. So within a very, very short time, they were all registered, and now they are fair trade. To enable them to do that, first of all, the British government came to our aid through DFID, and a group of a number of people joined in organizations, and which was called Frit Kibagenge. Kibagenge is in our country is called Pulling Together, and that's the team which to date are assisting the farmers in running the union. Their term ends, I think, ended yesterday, although possibly we might get an extension. So they did organize for the registration of those societies, certification, and the training, and they have also assisted in us marketing the tea through what you have told was Brand 99. We are looking for other markets on top of that. So they are certified under Fairtrade. They've gone another step ahead and got certification under Rainforest Alliance. Out of that certification, they're already getting premiums, but unfortunately, the market for tea, I think, is not that great. So they have been able to sell some through Fairtrade. The two methods that they sell the tea is what is sold directly, and the cooperative group has been very instrumental. Some of it is sold to other markets through the Mombasa auction. In our processes, we had to look at the democratic issues, one of which came up very strongly was giving the power to the women folk. But even these, we do not have to do a lot of work, because in our country there is a change. In fact, you find even in our own areas, many of the MPs are women. So it wasn't very difficult for us to do that. And most families, because these are family projects, you will find in most families the mother of the home and the father has certain partition in the farm. So although they all own jointly, you will find each of them are members in the society. And now about 36% of the women are involved in the running of the cooperatives. It's not only the women, we have also got the youth who are also involved in the running of those. The current situation, as I mentioned, is we haven't been able to sell so much through Fairtrade. Most of it goes through Mombasa auction. And the proceeds that we have received, we have not been able to utilize for anything serious because the amount is still too low. One of the projects which is being undertaken, which was in the packet of what our objectives, was diversification. Because we realized in our country that we had diverted all our resources to growing of tea. And more recently, when we had a drought in our country, they were all short of food items. So we have encouraged them. And as I speak, I think there is a crop, major crop of French beans, that's fine beans, red sugar snaps, and many other crops which should be rolled out within the next 2 months. In fact, I think a lot of that will go to the supermarkets in UK. They have accepted. So in 2 months' time, on the shelves, you'll be able to find products from Fintea. As an example of what we had encouraged earlier, you can see that gentleman. Those are very local vegetables in our country. And in December and January, February, it's a bit dry. So those who are capable of getting water, we water, and we're able to get vegetables. We're also doing bananas. We are doing, those bananas we're doing for the long term, and several others. Dairy used to be a major undertaking. It had gone so low because tea was getting dominant. But we realized that's now important, and they're beginning to do zero grazing for animals like you see on the screen. In an effort to enlarge these markets, we are making appeals. We have opened a website, and we should be appealing to the wider market for us to be able to sell some of our products. We have two brands which are very competitive in the market. They are highly priced, and we shall be trying to sell to the market. And we hope in the future, as you go to your own supermarkets, you'll be able to see more of these. I know you are aware of the Blend 99, which is in the British market. A major challenge in our area is the fact that we're using the Finlay processor. It's not our factory. And sometimes when we produce, we exceed capacity, and we've been limited by that. We're looking ways to be able to overcome that. There are also the weather issues. Last year, we had a very dry period all the way up to April, so we didn't have a good crop. And then after that, we've suffered from hail. Those are the natural calamities that we get. The benefits. We are processing our tea successfully. We have been able now to pool resources. And as I speak, plans are underway for us to open a credit and saving society, because we're lucky to have received support, and we have fitted an IT system which should be useful for our purposes. The other fact is we have very strong support through the project. Finlays in the local area is also assisting. The prices for our farmers are improved. Of course, also under our umbrella, they are strong in the fact that they have a collective bargaining. They have received a lot of training, and at all levels, with other opportunities like I'm able to speak in front of you through the fact that we work together. We are getting access to niche markets. Of course, the premiums are also already there. Employment, because when we did go into this diversification, what the parents did was to allow their children to lead in the diversification project. And many of the parents are not doing it themselves, so it's giving an opportunity to the youth to take part. We are currently role players in marketing of our products, which before we never were able to take part. And under environmental issues, we have diarized, and every area is supposed to be doing some environmental issues. Last year, I remember one of my cooperatives, mine, planted more than 2,000 trees. All members under Fairtrade are aware they cannot plant anything up to next to the rivers. And they now are enjoying the benefit of cleaner water. They have learned the good agricultural practices, safe use of pesticides, herbicides, how to control waste, to be able to remove what can be decomposed from plastics, and of course then they are enjoying a better climate. This is an example of what we do. I was very happy to hear Paul Hansen, and what he was talking about was like they were detailed under my list, because that's what we suffer. So since you're all sitting here, you already are aware. I've given you a live example of a project, and I've given you the benefits and the difficulties under which they go through. And we will begin to find solutions together. Thank you.